Ubisoft has been a legendary game developer, being responsible for many massive game series, from Far Cry, The Division and other games such as Siege. They're also quite known for a different game series, which has been going on from 2007 to present day. Not Uno by the way, or Rayman, or rather Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed started out with its first game, with the appropriate title being Assassin's Creed. This was a revolutionary game in 2007, with smooth parkour mechanics, for the time at least, and a wait and parry system for combat. Wait, kill!
Dominating!
A lot of the game revolved around parkouring around to get behind or over people, then assassinate them with your shiny wrist blade. They also introduced the whole story of Assassins vs Templars and introduced us to the father of Assassin's Creed, Altair. Assassin's Creed Syndicate is the 9th major release in the series, and with it came a hefty amount of franchise fatigue. They hadn't changed the Assassin's Creed formula until what was to be the next game in the series, being Assassin's Creed Origins. So Syndicate was at a crossroad between the old Assassin's Creed to the new massive open world version used in the next free game. And having Unity as the predecessor, things were looking bad in the sales department, to say the least. But we can't talk about AC Syndicate's problems before taking a look into Unity. It was the glorious years of 2014, and Assassin's Creed was ready to make its mark on the newest consoles, being PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Unity was the game chosen for this important job of elevating the series and having a new and incredible graphics for the new consoles. Unity was a stunning spectacle, shown in all the trailers for the game and in a new setting, being Paris under the French Revolution. This was looking up for the industry and Ubisoft. Until people got to play it, however, and saw how the game truly was.
Oh my goodness!
Faces were missing a lot of the time and kept showing only the eyes and mouth. People were falling through the map, people got stuck in weird places, and constant crashes plagued the game on launch. It was a total disaster. YouTubers were having a field day shitting on the game, while IGN somehow gave it a 7.8 out of 10. Gaming journalism is a joke. Ubisoft had a hard task on their hands, trying to steer the massive ship, being Assassin's Creed, back on its tracks. Unity had been Ubisoft's most monumental fuck-up for the time, and people were not excited anymore for Assassin's Creed games. The next game had to first of all work, and second of all be interesting and change up the stale formula of the Assassin's Creed games being used since 2007. Their solution was Assassin's Creed Syndicate, set in London in the Industrial Revolution. This was an interesting turn for Assassin's Creed, as every setting before has had a really dense area, so you could easily stay on rooftops and get around. But now you had massive streets blocking you from doing this. They also introduced the game's first ever female protagonist by basing the game around the Fry twins of Jacob and Evie Fry. This was looking like a somewhat bold move from Ubisoft, but that might be just what they needed for the time. The launch day came, and a few which had pre-ordered it started experiencing the game. Assassin's Creed Syndicate was playable on launch. There were still some glitches, but for the most part it ran well. Ubisoft made changes with the game and built on the previous. They introduced a grappling wire thingy so you can get over the streets without leaving the rooftops. They also put in a gang system, which was pretty good, as you could make your own gang and your members could help you on missions and normal activities throughout the open world. They also redid the combat system by adding a combo meter and changing the health system for enemies somewhat, and movement and parkour was made even smoother and faster than the older games. On the surface, it looked like they made quite a good effort into the game and tried to do something new. But if you dig a little bit more into the game, the cracks would start to show. Syndicate was never as broken as Unity was the year before. But that doesn't mean it's perfect either. People would glitch through the map in some weird locations. Your character could get stuck in the ground, and other characters throughout the world were sometimes just stuck on a roof or just flying right out in the air. The world was probably one of Syndicate's better points, as they had made a beautiful rendition of London. The map was quite huge for the time, and the feeling of the city was absolutely great, with massive monuments and people doing stuff throughout the day. Like gang members mugging people from time to time, horse carriages going around the city at all times, and kids just being kids, I guess. The combat system was also changed, as I mentioned earlier in the video, as now you have a combo meter and a different health system on the enemies, where you have to pacify them first, then you can kill them. When the enemies are pacified, they're just hunched back over and just waddle around you and just try to attack you from time to time. But the attacks are really slow, and also they don't do any damage, to be perfectly honest. The combo meter was an interesting aspect though, because if you got high enough combat meter, you could just use your points to just one-hit an enemy, which was quite a neat feature, to be honest. But it kind of turned away from the parry then killed system to just mashing the buttons, as attacks were really fast from your character and quite slow from everybody else. But these changes were not enough, as they were just like adding more salt to a dish with no spices. The changes were just neat, not elevating enough for what Syndicate really needed to be. The grappling thingy you could use was just a neat thing that we only needed, as the game location was not meant for an Assassin's Creed game. The distance was so massive between the streets, so they had to make something new to bridge that distance. So this innovation was just a necessity, so the game could even work. The story wasn't its saving grace either. The big boss of this was Crawford Starrick, not a bad choice, as he looked quite menacing. A guy who has an iron grip on the whole entire world and is running London from the inside. But as most problems with Syndicate, he was just a bland bad guy with a nice mustache. And the story wasn't any better, as it was more bland than Unity's story. The characters and cutscenes were either not interesting or just really cringy, and the chemistry between characters were so tacked on and just felt wrong, as most lines between characters just made me cringe. I haven't been that positive towards Assassin's Creed Syndicate in this video, but do I think it's the worst Assassin's Creed game? Quite frankly not. But that's kind of the problem of it, because Assassin's Creed Syndicate was just bland and okay on everything. And that's why it got the fate of the most forgotten Ubisoft game.